Your brain is lying to you about how rich people actually build wealth. Think about yesterday. You told yourself you would save something this month. Maybe you even moved some money around, felt good about it for 10 minutes, and then life happened. The coffee, the Amazon cart, the I deserve this moment at 11 p.m. And by the end of the week, you are back at the same number, feeling the same guilt, making the same promise you made last month. You are not alone in this, not even close. This is not a you problem. This is not a discipline problem. This is not a willpower problem. Almost everyone your age is living in the exact same loop, blaming themselves for the exact same thing. And the system is counting on that guilt, keeping you paralyzed. Here is the number that should genuinely disturb you. Nearly 60% of Americans cannot cover a $400 emergency without going into debt. Not struggling people, average Americans. People with jobs, with income, with every intention to save. And the reason is not that they spend too much. The reason is that they are trying to build wealth using willpower. And willpower is one of the most unreliable forces in human psychology. By the end of this video, you are going to have a completely different system. Not a budget, not a savings challenge, an actual automatic system that builds wealth while you sleep, while you scroll, while you do absolutely nothing. And the beautiful part is that once it is set up, you literally cannot fail unless you go out of your way to break it. Stay with me, because this is the thing nobody taught you in school, and it is going to change the math of your entire financial life. Now let me show you who is actually responsible for where you are right now, because it is not you. The entire consumer economy is engineered, and I mean deliberately, scientifically engineered, to intercept your money before you ever make a conscious decision about it. Every app on your phone that lets you pay in one tap, every subscription that charges you quietly in the background, every buy now, pay later option that makes spending feel like it has no consequence, every social media feed that shows you a lifestyle slightly above yours so you feel the pull to close the gap. These are not accidents. These are systems built by rooms full of behavioral psychologists whose entire job is to move money out of your account and into someone else's. You were handed a debit card and told to resist all of that with nothing but your personal determination. That is not a fair fight. That is not even a fight. That is a setup. The system wants you reactive, wants you emotional, wants you making 100 small spending decisions a day on zero sleep with a phone full of notifications and a credit card that does not feel like real money. And then when you fall short, the same culture turns around and says, the problem is your mindset, your discipline, your character. But here's the good news. There is a way to beat the system that does not require you to be stronger than it. It requires you to be smarter. And smarter, in this case, means removing yourself from the equation entirely. Focus is not a talent. Wealth building is not a personality trait. This is a skill, a system. And just like learning to drive, the first few times felt overwhelming and unnatural, and like there were way too many things to track at once. And then, one day, it became automatic. You stopped thinking about it. You just drove. That is exactly what the right financial system feels like once it is running. You stop thinking about it. It just works. The book that maps this out better than anything I have ever read is called The Automatic Millionaire by David Bach. Bach is a financial advisor who has spent decades studying ordinary people, not trust fund kids, not tech founders, not lottery winners, ordinary middle-income Americans who quietly became millionaires. And the pattern he found in all of them was not income level. It was not intelligence. It was automation. Every single one of them had removed the decision from the equation. Let us get into exactly how. The first thing Bach hits you with, and it genuinely reframes everything, is what he calls the Latte Factor. Now, before you roll your eyes, this is not about coffee. The Latte Factor is about the hundreds of small, unconscious daily purchases that feel harmless in the moment, but are absolutely catastrophic over time when you do the math. Bach gives this example of a young woman who was spending $11 a day on coffee, a muffin, and a juice on her way to work. $11. She thought she was being reasonable, but $11 a day is around $330 a month. Across a year, that is nearly $4,000. Invested at a reasonable market return over 30 years, that single daily habit quietly devours nearly $500,000 of potential wealth. The number is almost impossible to believe until you do the math yourself. And the point is not to stop drinking coffee. The point is to look at your own daily patterns and identify where your automatic spending habits are running without your conscious permission. So here is what you do today, right now, not this weekend. Go through the last 7 days of your bank or card statements and find your personal Latte Factor. Find the thing you spend on automatically, without thinking, that you would not consciously choose if you were paying attention. Name it. That awareness alone is the beginning of everything. Now, here is where the real transformation begins, and this is the central idea the entire book is built on. Bach argues, and the math completely supports this, that the single most powerful financial move you can make is to pay yourself first. Not after rent, not after groceries, not after everything else is handled and you see what is left. First, before any bill, before any expense, before the money ever touches your regular account. And the magic word here, the word that makes this actually work, unlike every other version of this advice you have heard, is automatic. You set up a transfer, ideally through your employer's direct deposit or through your bank, so that a percentage of every paycheck is moved into a savings or investment account the moment it arrives. You never see it. You never touch it. You never make a decision about it. It is just gone into your future. Bach recommends starting with 1%, if that is all you can manage. 1%. Almost everyone reading this can find 1%. And the reason this works when every other budgeting method has failed you is simple. You cannot spend money you never see. Your brain adjusts to the income that hits your account, not the income before it is split. You feel no pain. The saving happens invisibly, and it compounds while you live your normal life. The action today: log into your payroll system or your bank right now and set up one automatic transfer for your next payday. 1%. Pick a savings account you will not look at daily. Set it. Done. Let us keep going, because the next concept is what turns saving into actual wealth building. Bach is extremely direct about this. Keeping your savings in a regular savings account is not saving. It is barely surviving. A standard savings account at most big banks is paying you somewhere between almost nothing and nothing. Meanwhile, inflation is quietly eating the purchasing power of everything sitting in that account. Bach pushes hard on two specific vehicles: your employer's 401k if you have access to one, and a Roth IRA if you do not. And the reason these two matter beyond just the investment growth is one specific feature that most people completely misunderstand. If your employer offers any match on your 401k contributions, meaning they add money to your retirement account based on how much you put in, and you are not contributing at least enough to get the full match, you are turning down free money. Literally, free money that your employer is legally required to give you if you participate. Bach calls this the most guaranteed return on investment available to any American worker, and he is right. The action here: find out today if your employer offers a 401k match. One email to HR, one conversation. If they do, and you are not maximizing it, you are leaving money on the table every single paycheck, and that needs to stop today. Here is something Bach talks about that most financial books skip entirely, and it surprised me when I first read it. He argues that owning a home, specifically paying it off, is one of the most powerful automatic wealth-building moves a person can make. Not because real estate is always a great investment, but because of what a mortgage does to your psychology and your behavior. When you rent, 100% of your monthly housing payment disappears. It builds zero equity. It returns nothing. When you own and you pay a mortgage, a portion of every payment builds ownership in an asset. And Bach goes further. He recommends making one extra mortgage payment per year, just one, by dividing your monthly payment into two halves and paying every 2 weeks instead of once a month. This bi-weekly trick means you end up making 26 half payments a year instead of 12 full ones, which equals 13 full payments instead of 12, one extra payment annually. The result? A 30-year mortgage becomes a 23-year mortgage. You own your home 7 years earlier and save tens of thousands in interest without ever feeling a dramatic change in your monthly cash flow. Now, if you are not at the homeownership stage yet, that is completely fine. What matters today is this. Wherever you have a recurring payment, ask whether there is a bi-weekly option or an extra principal option. Start training your brain to think in terms of small accelerations with compound effects. Now, listen carefully, because this next piece is the one I wish someone had given me when I was 19. Bach dedicates significant time to the concept of debt as the anti-automatic millionaire system, specifically credit card debt, because credit cards are the one financial product that is almost perfectly designed to work against every principle of automatic wealth building. The average credit card in America charges somewhere between 19 and 29% annual interest. Think about that number. The stock market averages around 8 to 10% over time, which means a dollar invested has historically grown at that rate. A dollar sitting on a credit card balance is shrinking at nearly 3 times that rate. You cannot outinvest credit card debt. You cannot save your way past it. If you have high-interest credit card debt running right now, while you are also putting money into savings, the math of that situation is working against you every single day. Bach's recommendation is aggressive and specific. List every debt you carry, find the one with the highest interest rate, and direct every extra dollar toward eliminating that one first while maintaining minimums on everything else. This is the debt avalanche approach. Not glamorous, but mathematically optimal. Today's action. Write down every debt you currently carry, the balance and the interest rate, all of them, on paper or in your notes app. That clarity alone will shift something in how you feel about it. Here is the final piece that Bach weaves through the whole book, and it is the one that separates people who read about this stuff from people who actually build wealth. He talks about values-based spending. The idea is that the automatic millionaire system does not ask you to stop spending. It asks you to stop spending unconsciously. There is a massive difference. Spending on things that genuinely bring you deep satisfaction, that align with who you actually are and what you actually value, that is not the enemy. The enemy is the spending that happens on autopilot, the spending that you do not even enjoy, that you do not even remember 2 days later, that you do not actually choose. It just happens because it is easy, and the system made it frictionless. Bach asks a simple but devastating question. If you tracked every dollar you spent for 30 days and looked at that list, would it reflect the life you actually want? For most people, the honest answer is no. The action: for the next 7 days, before any non-essential purchase, pause for 10 seconds and ask one question. Does this reflect who I want to be? That pause is not deprivation. That pause is power. Let me tell you about a couple that Bach features in the book, because their story hit different for me the first time I read it. Jim and Sue McIntyre were a couple earning a combined income of around $40,000 a year when they started applying the automatic millionaire principles. Jim worked at a utility company. Sue was a part-time teacher's aide. They were not high earners by any standard definition. They lived in a modest house in a mid-sized American city. They drove older cars, and they made one decision early in their financial life that changed everything. They automated their savings from day one. Jim enrolled in his 401k at the maximum contribution level his budget allowed. Sue opened a Roth IRA and set up automatic monthly contributions. They set up a bi-weekly mortgage payment. They identified and eliminated their personal latte factors. They did not follow a strict budget. They did not deprive themselves of everything enjoyable. They just built automatic systems and let time do the work. By the time they were in their mid-50s, Jim and Sue had a paid-off home, over $1 million in retirement accounts, and zero consumer debt, on $40,000 a year starting income. They are not an anomaly. They are a blueprint. And the thing I want you to understand is that their secret was not sacrifice. It was structure. They removed willpower from the equation and let the system run. That could be you, not at 55, starting right now. With whatever income you have right now. The amount matters less than you think. The system matters everything. So here is your challenge. And I mean right now, not after you finish this video, not tonight, not this weekend. Right now, before you close this tab or swipe to something else, open your banking app or your payroll portal and set up one automatic transfer. One, even if it is $10, even if it is $5. The amount is not the point today. The habit is the point. The system is the point. Setting up that first automatic transfer is the moment you stop being someone who intends to build wealth and start being someone who actually is. And when you do it, you will feel something shift. Not because $10 is going to make you rich, but because you will have just done something that your future self is going to thank you for in a way your current self cannot fully understand yet. That is the first step. Take it right now. Now close your eyes for just a second and picture yourself 3 years from now. You wake up on a Tuesday and you check your accounts, not anxiously, not with dread, just out of curiosity. And you see a number that is actually growing, month over month, not because you have been white-knuckling a budget or saying no to everything fun, but because 3 years ago you set up a system and let it run while you lived your life. Picture what that feels like in your career. You have options. You are not trapped in a job by financial panic. You have a cushion that gives you the confidence to take risks, ask for what you are worth, or walk away from situations that do not serve you. Picture your relationships. You are not stressed about splitting bills. You are not quietly ashamed when the conversation turns to money. You show up lighter, more present, more generous because the background financial anxiety that used to hum underneath everything is just gone. Picture how you feel about yourself. Not perfect, but in control. Like you are finally playing offense with your own life instead of just trying to survive each month. That version of you is not a fantasy. That version of you is the direct result of the decision you make in the next 10 minutes. Here is what I need you to know before you go. The reason you have not done this before is not because you lack discipline. It is not because you are bad with money. It is not because you are not smart enough or motivated enough or good enough. It is because nobody ever showed you that the game is designed to be played automatically, not manually. You were handed a shovel and told to dig an ocean. This book gives you the pipe system. The capability was always inside you. You have learned harder things than this. You have figured out harder systems than this. You are more financially capable than the story you have been telling yourself, and it is time to start acting like it. If this video shifted something for you, share it with one person in your life who is stuck in the same loop. Not because we need the views, because they need to hear this. Like this video if you want more content that actually changes the math of your life. And subscribe to Book Brief Hub because we go this deep every single time. You already have everything it takes. Now go set up that transfer.